You don't hear it coming. No roar, no growl, no warning call. Just the slow, deliberate crack of a branch somewhere in the gray morning fog. And then, rising from the water like a prehistoric apparition, comes the largest deer on Earth, standing nearly 7 feet at the shoulder, weighing as much as a compact car, a rack of antlers wider than most men are tall. This is the moose, Alces alces, and if you've ever underestimated it, you haven't been close enough. Across the northern forests of North America, Scandinavia, and Russia, the moose reigns as an unchallenged icon of the wild. According to National Geographic, a fully grown bull moose can weigh between 1,200 and 1,500 pounds, with exceptional individuals exceeding that. From nose to tail, they stretch up to 10 feet long, as their legs alone are nearly 4 feet in height, long enough to step over obstacles that would stop a grown man cold. But sheer size is just the beginning. That iconic, bulbous nose? It's a biological marvel. The moose's oversized snout contains a complex system of nasal passages and enlarged chambers that warm, frigid Arctic air before it reaches the lungs. Nature's own HVAC system, engineered across tens of thousands of years of evolution. And those ears, wide, rotating, almost comically large, can swivel independently to detect sounds from hundreds of yards away. In the forest, where visibility is measured in feet, hearing isn't just useful, it's survival. The moose is not built for elegance, it's built for endurance. Look up. That massive paddle-shaped crown of bone stretching from a bull's skull? It's one of the fastest-growing tissues in the animal kingdom. Each spring, a bull moose begins regrowing his antlers from scratch, shedding last year's rack entirely and rebuilding it over the course of just a few months. According to research published by the Alaska Department of Fish and Game, a mature bull can grow up to an inch of antler per day during peak growth. By autumn, a dominant bull may carry a rack spanning 5 to 6 feet wide, weighing 40 to 50 pounds. And it's all grown covered in velvet, a soft skin-like tissue rich in blood vessels that feeds the bone as it forms. In early fall, testosterone surges, blood flow cuts off, and the velvet dries and peels away, often stripped by the bull himself as he thrashes his antlers against trees and brush. The rut is coming. And these antlers are not ornamental, but they are weapons, tools of dominance, symbols of genetic fitness that cow moose, females, use to choose their mates. A bull's antler size signals age, health, and territorial power. In the brutal economy of the wild, that signal can mean the difference between passing on his genes or not. September. The air sharpens, the days shorten. And the moose, calm, deliberate, almost ghostly in his patience, transforms. During the rut, bull moose become something almost unrecognizable. Their necks swell, their aggression spikes, they stop eating, stop sleeping. They wallow in mud, urinate in their own wallows, and roll in the scent to attract females and intimidate rivals. And then, they fight. Bull-moose collisions are among the most violent encounters in North American wildlife. And 2 bulls, each weighing over 1,000 pounds, crashing their antlers together with enough force to be heard a mile away. They push, twist, and strain against each other, each trying to throw the other off balance. According to wildlife biologists with the Yellowstone Center for Resources, these battles can last for hours, and the losers sometimes suffer broken antlers, punctured flanks, or fatal injuries. But here's what surprises most people. The cow moose is no passive observer. She chooses. She moves through the forest, grunts low calls, and selects the mate she finds worthy. If a bull is too aggressive too early, she leaves. Female moose have been observed actively rejecting dominant bulls in favor of persistence and temperament. Even in the wild, judgment matters. And here is where the danger becomes real for humans. A bull moose in rut has been documented charging vehicles, trains, and people without provocation. The Alaska Department of Fish and Game reports that moose injure more people in Alaska annually than bears do. They are not naturally aggressive, but during the rut, and when a cow is protecting a calf, the calculus changes entirely. Silent, sudden, devastating. Spring arrives, and the forest shifts again. A cow moose, having survived winter, the rut, and the bitter cold, gives birth in late May or June, often to twins. The calves arrive weighing between 25 and 35 pounds. Awkward, unsteady, entirely dependent. But not for long. Moose calves grow faster than almost any other land mammal in North America. Within days, they can outrun a human. Within weeks, they're swimming alongside their mother in lakes and ponds. By the end of their first summer, they may weigh 300 to 400 pounds, a gain of nearly a pound per hour of their lives. Mother moose, cows, are among the most fiercely protective animals in the boreal forest. They will charge wolves, black bears, and grizzlies without hesitation to defend their young. Wildlife photographers and hikers are regularly caught off guard by cows that show no visual warning before charging. No raised hackles, no loud call. Just sudden, full-speed commitment. In Anchorage, Alaska, a city of nearly 300,000 people, moose calves and their mothers move through backyards, school campuses, and walking trails every spring. City officials issue annual warnings. The danger is not theoretical, as these animals are woven into human landscapes, whether we invite them or not. Here's something that rewires everything you thought you knew about this animal. The moose is a world-class swimmer. According to National Geographic, moose can swim up to 6 miles per hour and sustain that pace for miles at a stretch. They have been documented crossing open ocean channels between islands in Canada's maritime provinces. They can dive to depths of nearly 18 feet to reach aquatic vegetation on lake bottoms, closing their nostrils with specialized muscles and holding their breath for extended periods. Why? Thermoregulation, nutrition, escape. Aquatic plants like pondweed, water lilies, and horsetail are packed with sodium, a mineral moose need in large quantities, especially during summer. The water also provides relief from biting flies and black flies that can torment them relentlessly in the northern summer. And rivers and lakes give them escape routes from predators that are far less comfortable in the water. The moose has, over millennia, claimed two worlds: the forest floor and the cold, deep water beneath the surface. It is an architect of its own survival, building strategies that blend power with adaptation. In the northern reaches of Alaska, Canada, and Scandinavia, winter is not a season. It is a siege. Temperatures can plunge to minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Snowpack can reach 5 feet or more. Food sources disappear beneath ice and snow for months. And yet, the moose does not migrate. It does not hibernate. It stays. A moose's winter coat is biological engineering at its most refined, and each individual hair is hollow, a cylindrical air pocket that traps body heat and creates an insulating layer so effective that snow resting on a moose's back does not melt. According to research from the University of Alaska, moose can maintain a core body temperature of 101 degrees Fahrenheit, even in extreme cold, burning stored body fat and shifting their diet entirely to woody browse, willow, birch, aspen, stripped bark, and all. Their long legs become snowshoes, wide-hooved and deliberate, distributing weight across deep snowpack that would swallow a smaller animal entirely. And their metabolism slows. They move less. They conserve. They wait. Because survival in the north is not about strength alone. It is about patience, efficiency, the long game. The moose is the apex herbivore of the boreal forest, but it is not untouchable. And wolves are its primary predator across most of North America and Eurasia. A pack of 7 to 10 gray wolves working in coordinated pursuit can exhaust a moose over miles of terrain, targeting calves, the elderly, and the weakened. But healthy adult moose are not easy kills. A single kick from a moose's rear hoof, delivered with the force of several hundred pounds, can kill a wolf outright. Moose have been documented killing mountain lions, black bears, and even grizzlies that pushed the encounter too far. Isle Royale National Park in Michigan, home to one of the world's longest-running predator-prey studies, now in its 7th decade, has documented how moose and wolf populations regulate each other in a delicate ecological dance. When wolf populations decline, moose numbers surge, and they overgraze the forest. When wolves thrive, moose are kept in check, allowing forests to regenerate. This relationship, studied and cited extensively by the Wolves and Moose of Isle Royale project at Michigan Technological University, is one of the clearest natural demonstrations of how apex predators shape entire ecosystems, not just the animals they hunt, but the trees, the birds, and the water. Remove the wolf, and the forest changes. Remove the moose, and it changes again. In the economy of the wild, everyone pays a price. The moose is ancient, adaptable, enduring, and it is in trouble. Not from overhunting, regulated moose harvests in North America are carefully managed, not from habitat destruction alone. The threat is quieter, slower, and harder to see. It is a tick. Winter ticks, Dermacentor albopictus, have always existed in moose habitat. But they are thriving now in ways that are alarming wildlife biologists across New England and the Great Lakes region. A single moose can carry 50,000 to 100,000 winter ticks simultaneously. The blood loss is catastrophic. Calves, in particular, are dying by the hundreds of thousands from what researchers at the University of New Hampshire describe as the leading cause of moose mortality in the Northeast. And climate change is the engine driving it. Here's the mechanism. Winter ticks require a hard freeze in autumn to be killed off before they find a host. As winters shorten and autumn temperatures stay warmer longer, tick populations explode unchecked. They attach to moose in their tens of thousands, feeding through winter and causing anemia, hair loss, and the desperate self-scratching behavior that gives affected moose their haunting name: ghost moose. The IUCN Red List currently classifies the moose as least concern globally. But regional populations in New England have declined by more than 40% in recent decades, according to the New Hampshire Fish and Game Department. In some townships in New Hampshire and Vermont, moose have nearly vanished from landscapes they dominated a generation ago. This is not a distant problem. This is happening now. In states where moose were once as common as autumn leaves, across North America, wildlife biologists are racing to understand the moose and to find the pathways that protect them. At the University of Vermont, researchers are using GPS-collared moose to map habitat use, migration corridors, and stress responses to temperature and parasites. In Minnesota, home to the largest moose population in the contiguous United States, the Department of Natural Resources launched a long-term moose monitoring program that has yielded critical data on calf survival, adult mortality rates, and the role of nutrition in resisting tick infestations. In Norway, home to the largest moose population in Europe, hunters and researchers collaborate on decades-long datasets that have helped develop harvest models now used worldwide. What they're finding: moose are more sensitive to heat stress than previously understood. When summer temperatures exceed 57 degrees Fahrenheit for extended periods, moose seek shade and water more aggressively, reducing time spent foraging. Nutritionally stressed moose carry higher tick loads. The connections are compounding, but the science is also revealing resilience. Moose in areas with abundant aquatic feeding sites show better body condition scores. Populations with less hunting pressure recover faster. Forest management that preserves both young regenerating stands, rich in nutritious browse, and mature stands for thermal cover creates conditions where moose can buffer some climate pressures. The answers are there if we are willing to look and act. Long before wildlife biologists arrived with their GPS collars and calf mortality data, the moose held a different kind of significance. For the Algonquin peoples of northeastern North America, the moose was central to survival. Its meat-fed families through brutal winters. Its hide clothed and sheltered entire communities. Its bones and sinew became tools. And the moose did not just share the landscape with indigenous peoples of the northeastern woodlands. It was woven into their material, spiritual, and cultural existence for thousands of years. Across Scandinavia, the elk, as moose are called in Europe, appears in Bronze Age rock carvings, Norse mythology, and national identity. Sweden's moose is a cultural symbol as instantly recognizable as the American bald eagle. In modern American culture, the moose occupies a peculiar duality, simultaneously an icon of wilderness and a roadside hazard. Warning signs dot highways from Maine to Montana. Insurance claims from moose vehicle collisions run into the hundreds of millions of dollars annually across North America. And the Animal Vehicle Accident Research Center at Dalarna University in Sweden estimates that tens of thousands of moose vehicle collisions occur in North America and Scandinavia combined each year. It is a reminder that wild and human worlds overlap whether we plan for it or not. And perhaps that is exactly the point. The moose asks nothing from us. It does not perform. It does not seek our attention. It moves through the oldest forests on the continent on its own terms, navigating cold, predators, parasites, and now, a warming planet, with the quiet, stubborn persistence of something that has survived ice ages and the extinction of dozens of species around it. It is not the fastest animal in North America, not the most ferocious, not the loudest, but in the gray morning fog, and when the water ripples and that dark shape rises, 7 feet tall, 1,000 pounds of ancient architecture, its breath clouding the cold air, there is something that stops you entirely. Something that reminds you that this world was wild long before we arrived, and that the wild, if we are careful, if we are willing, if we pay attention, can endure.